Once again, good evening everyone. Myself is Shailesh Kokate. This is our lecture number 16 and the topic is types of cost in engineering economics. Okay, now we'll see details. So very first is the definition of cost. Okay, now we'll see the definition of cost like in a business. In a business, the cost express the amount of money that is spent on the production or creation of goods or service. Okay, so we'll see definition of cost. Cost in a business. In a business, the cost means it is the amount of money that is spent on the production or creation of goods or services. Now, generally, the cost doesn't include any markup cost, markup price, or profit. Okay, so the very important point is cost means it is the amount of money which helps, which we spent for the production or creation of goods or services. Now, there are two basic definition of cost. One is from seller's point of view, and the second one is from buyer's point of view. So we'll see from the seller's point of view, the cost is the amount of money spent. The amount of money which is spent to produce a particular product or good. So from the seller point of view, the cost means the amount of money we spent for a particular product or goods. Now from buyer's point of view, okay, now it can be, the cost can be called as the price. From the buyer's point of view, the cost means the price. Now what is meant by price? The price charge, suppose price is a P. Okay, now that price he has charged for purchasing some amount of goods. So here I am writing purchasing. So purchasing of goods. So that purchase or the price is nothing but the cost. Okay, now this is the amount charged for a particular product by the seller, and it includes both cost to make the product and mark up the cost in order to get the profit. So from the buyer's point of view, the definition is restricted to this point. So we conclude, so definition of cost is amount of money spent on production or creation of goods and services. From seller's point of view, the cost means the amount of money which is spent, and from the buyer's point of view, the cost means the price which incurred for purchasing a particular goods or services. Okay, now we'll see the classification or types of cost. We'll see the classification or types of cost. So the cost, there are different types of cost. The very first is direct cost, then indirect cost, then fixed cost, then next comes variable cost, then next is operating cost, then opportunity cost, then sunk cost. Okay, so some of the types of cost I have summarized here. We'll see all these cost in detail in the next coming lecture. Okay, now very first we'll see the direct cost. Now we'll see the very first is direct cost. Now this cost related to producing a goods or services. This cost is related to particular production of goods or services. Now the direct cost include raw materials like labor, then expenses or whatever the expenditure or distribution of cost associated with producing a product. Okay, now the direct cost include the amount of money we spend for purchasing a raw material, for making payment to a labor, or we made some expenses or expenditure we made for production or production of particular product. So that is called as direct cost. Now this cost can easily be traced to a product or department or a particular project. Okay, it means that we can easily find out the direct cost of a particular department. Suppose in engineering there is manufacturing department. Okay, there are different departments. One is manufacturing department, second is say sales department, and suppose there is another one is R&D department, which is generally a part of manufacturing department, but we can make a different classification here. So now we are going to find out the direct cost of a particular department. So take example manufacturing department. Manufacturing department means here we are going to study the direct cost of particular labors, means how many people are working in manufacturing department, and for that purpose the company owner need to pay amount of money as a salary. It is called as direct cost of manufacturing department. Similarly, the number of people working in sales department. So, sorry. So the owner of the company will pay the salary or wages of the sales representative. So it come under the direct cost of a company or direct cost of the particular sales department. Similarly, the R&D, in R&D department, many people are working for developing a prototype or making a designing or making or developing different activities. So different people are employing in this department. So the cost or cost of salary paid is come under the direct cost. Okay. Now we'll see another example. Suppose a Tata Motor company is there, which manufacture cars and trucks. Now in particular plant, workers spend 8 hours, or worker works for 8 hours for developing or building a car. Now here the workers spend their 8 hours, means the Tata company need to pay the salary of the particular workers according to their time. So the salary comes under the direct cost. Now the direct cost associated with the car are wages. So important point is wages, or we can say the salary paid to the workers, and the cost of parts used to build a car. So here we need to consider the cost of parts. So there are variety of parts required for a manufacturing car. There are n number of parts which require to manufacture a final assembly of car. So the company pay some amount for purchasing, for manufacturing, for developing that parts. So it comes under the direct cost. So here are a few other examples of direct cost. One is direct material cost, then different consumable supplies, then freight in and freight out. Freight in means suppose we are purchasing or we are importing a particular product from abroad, then for that we need to pay some charges, or we are exporting a product from our country to another country, so that called a freight out. So that charges come under the direct cost. And the sales commissions So these are the some of the examples of direct cost. Okay, now we'll see indirect cost. Now on the other hand, indirect cost are expenses which are unrelated to producing a goods or services. So these expenses are not directly related to a particular product of goods or service. Okay, means these costs is are not directly related to the particular product. So these expenses are unrelated. Okay, and indirect cost cannot be easily traced to a particular product. So these costs cannot be easily traced to a particular product or department or activity or project. We can take the example, suppose Tata Motors. So direct cost we have calculated by finding the cost of particular steel or particular tires. Okay, but however, when we talk about the electricity, the electricity which is used in Tata Motors, a whole company, So we'll get, suppose there is one department, say one is manufacturing department, okay, and second department is, say example, sales example. Another example may be a store department, okay. So the cost of electricity consumed from the manufacturing, from the sales, from the stores, we can collectively take the data from the meters. From the meters means whole company, means we get the electricity bill for a whole company, that is Tata Motors. We get whole electricity bill for whole company, not for a particular department, that is manufacturing, for sale, or for store. So that cost is called as indirect cost. Means we cannot trace easily the particular cost, but it is necessary, it is required to manufacture a particular product. Electricity is must for manufacturing a particular product, but it is called as indirect cost because it cannot be easily traced to a particular product or department or activity. Okay, so this is called as indirect cost. Okay, now we'll see the next type of cost. Then the next is a fixed cost. Next type of cost term is a fixed cost. Now fixed cost, the word indicate that the cost do not vary with the number of goods or services. So here we compare the cost with the number of goods or services. Okay, so here we consider the cost, and here we consider the Q. Q is a quantity, C is a cost, and Q is a quantity or number of goods or services that produces from a company during a span of time. Okay, now so suppose we can take example. Suppose a company leases means leases a machine for production for 2 years. Now we'll consider what is meant by leases. Suppose company want a machine EM, and that machine is not available in particular company, so that particular machine company takes at rent, and the rent may be say example 1 lakh per month. So the rent is 1 lakh per month. So that is a rent. So the company takes the machine, particular machine on rent, and the particular rent is rupees 1 lakh per month for a 2 years. Now this 1 lakh per month is called as fixed charges, or we can say it is a fixed cost. It is called as fixed cost. Now we'll see the different examples of fixed cost. So the very first example is a rent, as I told you here. Then we need to pay insurance to different machines, insurance to different vehicles. Also we can say life insurance of people's work in a particular industry. Then also we need to consider the administrative cost. That is also a fixed cost. Administrative cost means per month the particular telephone bill, then we have some internet bill, then we have some stationery we require per month. So that expenses we consider the administrative cost, because these expenses are must for conduction of day-to-day operation in office or administrative work. Then we need to pay some property taxes. Then we need to pay some salaries per month. We have say the company is paying rupees 10 lakh per month minimum. At least company has to pay at least 10 lakh per month salary to the workers. So that is called as a fixed cost. So all these are fixed costs. All these are the examples of fixed cost. Okay. Now we'll go for the next cost, that is variable cost. So it indicates that this cost is fluctuate or changes. This cost fluctuate or changes as level of production or output changes. Okay. Now suppose we can consider, suppose a company manufacture in January manufacture company a particular, say, 1000 quantity, 1000 quantity manufacture in January, and that time the cost will be, say per product the cost is rupees 100 rupees. So per piece the cost is 100 rupees. So ultimately you will get the cost for the January is 1000 into 100. So you will get that much cost, okay, for January. But in the month of February, the company has decided to increase the production, and the production increased to 1500 product. Okay, so the cost will be 1500 into 100. Okay, so that will be the cost. Similarly, in the month of March, the company has decided to increase the production to 2000 quantities. So likewise the cost get vary. Again, in month of April, the company has decided to increase the production by to produce 2500 products. So the cost will be 2500 into 100. So the cost will vary month-wise. So it is called as variable cost. Because why it changes? Because it changes with the production output. With the production output. That is, the cost here changes with the quantity of particular product. If the quantity remains same for all month, the cost will be fixed cost. If the quantity changes, quantity get vary, means in one month the quantity will be 1000, in the next month the quantity will be 1100, or likewise changes, then the cost will ultimately vary or change. So it is called as variable cost. Now this type of cost varies depending on the number of products of a particular company. So this cost varies depending upon the number of products in a company. Now suppose a company has 4 or 5, consider 4 or 5 different products. So the cost on product A, product B, then product C, product D, and product E will be different. So cost for the product A will be different, the cost of product B will be different, similarly for all the products. Okay, so it is called as the cost is variable. The cost varies with respect to type of products. Okay, so it is called as variable cost. Now a variable cost increases as the production volume increases. I told you here, the variable cost increases. We consider in the month of January we produce 1000 products, the cost will increase, cost will be 1000 into 100. In the month of February we have increased the quantity up to 1500, then cost will be 1500 into 100. In the month of March we increase the quantity up to 2000, then the cost will be 2000 into 100. Similarly here, that is cost is directly proportional to Q. So C is directly proportional to Q, means the cost increases with increasing quantity. That is, variable cost increases with increase in quantity or increase in volume of production, and similarly it falls as the production or volume decreases. So as I told you here, that the variable cost, which is directly proportional to the quantity of production. Okay, now we'll take example of variable cost. Here is raw material cost, then packaging cost, then commission and delivery cost. We'll take the example of raw material. Now suppose the cost of raw material, take example in January, suppose it is rupees 200 per kg, and in the month of June the cost will be 220 rupees, and similarly in the month of August it goes up by 250 rupees per kg. Now here we will find in the month of January the climate is cool and don't have any transportation problem, so that time the normal transportation charges will be allocated, the cost will be 200 rupees. per kg. In month of June, due to rainy season, there is increase in some charges, so the cost may increase to 220. Again, in month of August, due to again rainy season, disturbance in disturbance created due to traffic jam and different reasons, so the cost is 250. So here we'll find why the raw material cost increases, because it depends upon the season. So here we consider the cost of raw material as a variable cost. Okay, so here we consider the cost of raw material as a variable cost. Similarly, the packaging cost will be different. In month of that is dry season is there, the packaging we require less packaging. In month of monsoonal season, we require more packaging, more different types of packaging. So that time the cost of packaging will also be different. Similarly, delivery cost will be different. In normal season, that is in month of summer or winter, we get a normal delivery charges, but in month of monsoonal, that is from June to September, we need to pay some more excess amount for the delivery cost, because due to water that is monsoonal type of climate. So okay, so that's all.